tasty pastry. It's a low-carb Pop-Tart. It's got 3 to 4 grams of net carbs, and we love this show. This is our best place to be in LA.
Welcome back to Legendary Foods Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo, and today is Friday, December 9th, 2022. And let's find out what's going on in the world of bodybuilding and fitness. At some point after the 2022 season wraps up, we'll sit down and take stock on the people and stories that really captured the essence of what this year was all about. And even though we still have a few major boxes to check off next weekend, I can all but guarantee you that Derek Lunsford's name finds a way to make it into that list, win, lose, or draw. The only thing in recent memory that you can really compare it to is the Flex Lewis situation from a few years ago. And even that isn't necessarily a perfect fit because Flex didn't go from 212 King to Open Olympia title contender within the same season. The year that Derek's had is really unlike anything else in the history of the modern era. So if he can put a bow on this thing by managing to land himself a spot in the top 6, this might end up being one of the all-time Cinderella stories we've ever seen. Now, I know that I just said making it into the top 6 for Derek would turn this into a fairy tale season for Derek, but if you ask Ronnie Coleman, Derek sliding all the way down to 6th would be a major disappointment because he went on the record a few days ago during a conversation with Derek and said that he believes that Derek can actually win the Olympia this year, which is something that I don't think we're hearing Derek's biggest fans saying at this point. Now, far from it from anyone to second guess the greatest to ever do it, because if there's anyone who knows what it takes to win on an Olympia level, it's him. But that doesn't take away any of the shock factor here. For all intents and purposes, Derek winning the Mr. Olympia in the same calendar year that he entered the open class would be one of the all-time walk-off moments in the history of bodybuilding, which means that if Ronnie Coleman is right, next weekend is going to be must-see TV. Now, at one point in the season, all of the Derek Lunsford fans out there were basically foaming at the mouth while they were waiting for his decision whether or not he was going to defend his title or make the jump to the open division. But in the grand scheme of things, the wait on him to make his Open Olympia debut really wasn't that long. At least it doesn't feel that way when you compare it to the slow burn that Rafael Brandeo and his fans have been dealing with for the better part of the last 3 years. Now that we're only 1 week away from finally seeing Rafa make his way to the pinnacle of the sport, you get the sense from people close to Rafa that he's more than ready to step up and seize the moment. He's paid his dues, put in the time, and now he's ready to take the seat at the table. People have been saying for years that it was always a matter of time, not if, for him. So now that the time has finally come, it's up to him to show everyone that it was worth the wait. Sometimes as fans, I think it's possible to get caught up in the placings and the outcomes of a show as big as the Olympia, but at the same time lose sight of the fact that this is more about a journey than the destination for a lot of people who ultimately make it to this level. And I'm not necessarily saying that should be the case for someone like Antoine Vaillant, because he probably has a decent shot at being in the mix for a top 10 spot this year. But in a situation like his, where he's had to overcome so much to reach this point, the journey is definitely a big part of the story. It's hard to be objective as fans because we are using the end result as our single metric to define whether or not someone's prep was a success. But the truth of the matter is that not everyone defines their win by where they place on the scorecards. There's a lot that goes into these preps and living this lifestyle that we don't get to see because it all takes place behind the scenes. And I think it's probably worth noting as we head into the last weekend before the Olympia that some of the biggest winners of this whole thing won't be walking off the stage with a big check and a Sandow trophy. And that does it for yet another edition of Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo, reminding you to always be true to your passions. And make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.